My name is Vicki Russell. I'm the publisher of the Columbia Tribune in real life, but I also am the chair of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and the vice chair of the REDI Board of Directors. And I think, based on all those jobs, I am uniquely qualified to say Columbia is officially gaga over entrepreneurs of all ages and stages and interest areas. By the way, before I go on, there's a box going around that you're supposed to put your business card or write your name and phone number down, and there's going to be a drawing after a while, and the prize is going to be free admission to our next entrepreneurial summit. So be sure to get your information in that box. You know, historically, Columbia kind of, just counted on its natural charms to attract and keep people in this community or bring them to the community. And it worked well for many years. We have a lot of businesses in this community that were started by people who moved here and stayed here or people who grew up here. And while many of those businesses are mainly locally focused, we still have several that do business nationally and internationally. So Columbia kind of just, banked on luck for its future growth and expansion. And I can tell you, the event that was held here 2 years ago that Mike referred to was really kind of an eye-opener to some of us who have been around town for a long time. We listened to some presentations from student entrepreneurs and said to ourselves, we need to make some changes. So, a few years ago, we started looking at our student population through entirely new lenses. In the past, we've always appreciated when the students arrived in the fall. We enjoyed their creativity and their energy and, yes, the money they spend around town. And we, lived with them for 9 months, and when they went home for the summer, we all kind of breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed a little bit for a couple of months and then welcomed them back in the fall. Not so much anymore. We are not taking the passive approach. We are taking an active approach. It occurred to us it makes no sense to let this talent pool come to town, live here for 4 years, and then move away without really knowing all that much about the community out there except who sells the coldest and cheapest beer. And I do want to credit Mike Brooks with having a lot of vision that has moved REDI forward on this, in this area. And I know when he started talking about it, there were a lot of people around town who were going, huh? What are you talking about, Mike? But he has been bringing resources together to enable the community to be more successful at both helping our adult entrepreneurs, let's say, people who are kind of out there in the world but still following their entrepreneurial dreams, and at targeting, working with, meeting, nurturing our student entrepreneurs. And so I'm going to talk about both groups today. But first I'm going to talk about it with my Chamber of Commerce hat on, because there are some interesting things that are just now starting at our Columbia Chamber of Commerce. In fact, we are in the midst of formulating a master plan that is intended to help the community reach out to students, get them more involved in the community with the absolute intention of trying to enable them to make a choice to stay here in the future if they wish. Tomorrow morning, the Chamber is hosting a meeting at, I love this, 7:30 a.m. at Harpo's, kind of the vortex of student energy, I think. And we're going to talk about that one topic. What can the Chamber of Commerce do to engage and retain students? And student entrepreneurs are definitely at the top of the list. We want all bright students, of course, so we're not just totally focusing on entrepreneurs, but they are definitely a big part of that initiative. So if you have suggestions, please get them to us right away. I have to leave pretty soon after this talk, but either Mike or Keith know how to find me, and I would love to hear your ideas. There are some things going on at the Chamber right now. Within the Chamber, there is a division called EPIC, E-P-I-C. EPIC stands for Emerging Professionals in Columbia, and that organization is kind of a chamber within the chamber, and its membership is for people under 40. And at our leadership conference in April, I casually mentioned that I thought REDI would be, EPIC would be a great place to begin reaching out to students, because there's, well, they're a little closer in age range than some of the rest of us in the organization, shall I say. EPIC immediately took the ball and ran with it, and has pretty much laid the foundation of what it intends to do, and that plan will be rolled out pretty soon. It's not quite finished yet, but they are pretty far along. The Chamber's Education Committee, happily, has been working on a project for a couple of years that dovetails nicely with this. And what the Education Committee is doing is it's creating a better way to connect Chamber member employers with student interns. There's been a lot of background work done on this, in which the Education Committee has reached out to point people at the university and Columbia College and Stevens College to find a better way to reach down through those people to the faculty level to make a good match on internships. That is going to be tested throughout 2012, so it will begin in the spring semester. Employers are now sending information to the Chamber about the type of interns they would like for the winter, spring semester, whatever we call that now. And that information will be going out to the university and colleges pretty soon. So if you are interested in internship, please make it known to some of your key faculty members, your department head in your areas. These are not necessarily all entrepreneurial internships, but I've talked with some employers who definitely want student interns who can help them look at problems through your eyes, students, to find solutions for the future. So I think there is going to be some creativity going on in some of those jobs. All right, now I'm taking off my chamber hat and putting on my REDI hat. And I do want to talk about our upcoming economic entrepreneurial summit. Mike mentioned, and it is true, on Tuesday, February 1st, earlier this year, it started snowing, and I think we got 20 inches, something in that neighborhood. The university closed on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, an unprecedented move in its history. And on Thursday morning, we had no idea what to expect on Friday morning at 7:30, when we were starting our first entrepreneurial summit. And throughout that first day-long event, we ended up with around 250 people. We had, during that event, 2 keynote speakers, 12 breakout sessions, a pitch competition, and then an awards and networking session at the end, reception at the end of the day. The breakout session topics were varied to appeal to entrepreneurs at different stages. We covered basics such as bootstrapping and early stage funding, and how to get angel and capital funding. Some of the names of people that you have been hearing today were the very speakers we had at our summit last year. And then we had several panels of real-life entrepreneurs who told their stories. And we had professionals from various organizations in towns who help business startups and small businesses there to give how-to talks. All of those sessions were also very popular. Our Idea Bounce competition, which we didn't really because of some technical problems, start inviting entries for until pretty close to the time of the summit, and we ended up with 40-some entries. Those were narrowed down to a field of 15 finalists, and the finalists were then able to make their pitches during the afternoon of the summit. We had a first place prize of $1,000, and we also awarded cash prizes in second and third places. We intend to continue that this year and build those prizes as we can, and we certainly want to recognize VAmortgage.com for sponsoring those prizes. And as Mike said, we have our first place winners here today, and I want to introduce them to you. Bryn and Bailey Stansberry. No, stand up. Their pitch was for a fashion-forward rain boot designed for women and girls. They are Columbia College students. They have had this dream for many years since you were in high school, right? And they are pretty far along now. They just told me this morning they are down to making decisions on things like manufacturing and marketing and issues like that, right? They had a prototype they brought to the event, and they made a good sale that day. So we wish you the best. And if any of you are curious, please talk to them. After the summit, we surveyed those who attended, and based on their responses and reactions, we declared our first event a huge success, and we are in the process of preparing for Entrepreneurial Summit number 2. As you've heard, the date is Friday, February the 10th. It will again be at the Reynolds Alum Center. It will again be a day-long event and structured somewhat like last year, but we're going to change up topics for the breakout sessions. We will have new keynote speakers. If you have suggestions for topics in the breakout sessions, Matt and Josh, wherever you went, I wrote down your need improvement list, and there may be some things there that we can add to those sessions. And is Greg Bears still here? When is that pitch training program in St. Louis? Okay, you've got plenty of time to get trained up there before the actual event. I am told just this morning that within the next 2 to 3 weeks on the REDI website, we will have the registration form for the summit available, and we will have the entry form and competition information for our next Idea Bounce competition. So look for that early October. As I said earlier, I do want to echo one thing that the mayor said, and I think Mike touched on it too. Columbia right now is all about putting together the right people in the right places to create team-like approaches to help our entrepreneurs of all ages and stages. So we definitely want your feedback, both at REDI and the Chamber. There are some other things that are going on as well to kind of help get our arms around this. I mean, it's moving so quickly. Everyone is very excited, but it's kind of growing in all directions, and it is a little bit hard to keep on top of it, but we're getting there. And of course, all of the changes at the university are helping in oh so many ways. So the community is very excited. And as I said earlier, it was a simple question. Why go out, why have Mike Brooks go out and his staff spending their time trying to reach out to adults who have succeeded in entrepreneurship and try to convince them to bring their enterprise back to Columbia, when we would much rather keep you here from the start and make it easy for you to follow your dreams. I think that's it for me. If you do have suggestions, please let us know. And I can be reached at vrussell, VRUSSELL, at columbiatribune.com. Thanks very much.